All right, we are live for the Monday morning edition of the Morning Check-In. And as always, looking forward to connecting and sharing my 2 cents on a variety of subject matter. And I guess the most important one at this current moment happens to be the monetary developments in reference to the cancellation of the penny due to the fact that it costs more to make one than you can actually use the thing for anything. And then also, Elon Musk is out here continuing to get garner a lot of excitement in reference to cleaning up the mess in DC, and even put out the idea of Ron Paul joining DOGE, as well as auditing the Fed and auditing the IRS and all this other stuff. That sounds good. And so once again, don't want to rain on anyone's parade, but until we actually get those things accomplished and it results in something that puts more purchasing power back into your pockets, just pause the brakes a little bit and just look at the other side of all this stuff. So, anyway, want to share my thoughts and ideas, suggestions, and so I want to definitely connect with you guys. And as always, running behind just because I'm grabbing more information, trying to lay out a interesting case here as to why a lot of things are positive in nature, but then again, zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and then from there we'll be able to make better decisions as well as outlooks on where we're at this current monetary reset. So anyway, it's going to be a good morning. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Let me make sure I'm connected. Let me know if the audio is good. Let me know if you can hear me. And I see a lot of chat back and forth in the chat over there. Appreciate everybody for blessing me with your presence. It looks like we got LBP, Tom, James, a lot of good back and forth. Pablo Pina checking in. So appreciate you, man. Also, let me make sure I'm running on all cylinders. I'm trying to stream on multiple platforms at once to make sure everyone has a chance to join in and hear an alternative perspective. And so it's going to be a good morning to say the least. So as always, for those who are new, if you're new, definitely hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, so that you'll always be able to plug in and make sure you never miss anything. Let me just get my stuff up here. So for all those, subscribe, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you're watching from. And if you are enjoying the opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals and want to be a blessing and support the channel, then also feel free to make a contribution of any kind. Links in the description as well to donate for those who want to be a blessing to the channel. And as always, the whole goal here is to just give you an alternative perspective. Allows you to process, multiple angles as to what's going on. So once again, this is just one man's opinion based upon the things I see and things that catch my attention as well as interest me. And I want to be able to connect with you guys and share my 2 cents as well as get yours. So that's why I appreciate feedback as well as comments. So in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, dropping down below, and we can get those addressed. And so as always, I always come across a lot of interesting comments. I try to respond accordingly. But between Rumble and YouTube, it's usually too many comments to get to. So bear with me here. But your voice is important rather. So okay, so get into some good news, which is the spiritual side of things and the importance of continuing to dial in and to improve and increase your relationship with your Heavenly Father. And then we'll get into some resources, and then we'll get into some of the noise, as I like to call it, just the headlines that's given to us after things happen. So we're literally talking about things that's already in the past, in a sense, trying to project what's coming in the future. Okay, so let me jump into it. And of course, we got some market activity. Looks like gold and silver is doing a little bit of something as a result of all this stuff happening in the world. So clearly signs that things are happening, and we will see what they are. So we got Bruce in Utah. Appreciate you, man. We have let's start Minute Police, a few bots as well. Yeah, the bots are good. James, audio's good. The bots and trolls, they have a purpose. Their job is to basically enrich and to further, I guess, enhance my desire to improve. And so the more haters out there, the more I have to dig deeper and make sure I am more well versed on what I'm talking about here. So I appreciate the critics and the haters out there. They serve a purpose. David says, support Elon, buy Tesla. It's an all-American car that is in many ways superior to the other car options. David, once again, as far as making recommendations in reference to what you purchase automobile-wise is great. I mean, I'm not much of a fan myself. I don't prefer to own a remote control car, but I prefer something with a little horsepower / carburetor in it, that type of stuff, or something of that magnitude. So I'm not much of a fan of the electric cars. I don't really see the long-term value in something that you will not get the resale value of it when you are done using it, whenever done is for you. So And that's another thing people don't consider. Like, you buy these cars because that's the trend, that's the movement. People who want to go green and support the environment. Okay, that's all fine and good, but plug it into your house. On that back end of that, they're still using natural gas or coal or something that is, you know, not really all that beneficial for the environment as well. And then you have the lithium batteries, which we got the version 1, version 2. So about 4, 5, 6 years from now, when there's better versions of a lithium battery, what are you going to do then? Because it's going to cost more to replace those batteries more than likely than it is to actually own the car. So those are just things that don't really interest me too much. But to each his own. To each his own. And so me being in Motor City, I got a Rivian, we got a couple other car companies here that's electric, and they're not doing too good right now. They're not doing too good. Okay, so I'm rambling too much. Okay, let's get into it. Let me get into the resources. Actually, let me get into good news first. I'll give you guys the good news because I got a lot of headlines to get into. So let's get into the. Okay, bear with me here. Okay, I'm a work in progress. Got too many buttons behind here to click on. Okay, so as you can see on the screen here, spiritual blindness is today's good news from February 10th is the date. And let me bring it up on the screen so it's bigger on my end so I can actually see it. So I'll read it and then just give you something to chew on. Hopefully you guys meditate on it. Let the Holy Spirit move within you in reference to what he wants to do with this particular word. And so it says, in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. And this is quoting what Christ is saying. He says, you will ever be hearing, but never understanding. You will be ever seeing, but never perceiving. Matthew 13:14. And so this says that Jesus wasn't just talking to the Pharisees. He was talking to us. The kingdom of God is here, but do we recognize it? Many people heard Jesus' words, saw his miracles, but still missed the truth. Isaiah prophesied about the blindness, and Jesus confirmed it. The problem isn't with our ears or eyes, it's with our hearts. If you're too caught up in religion, tradition, or the noise of this world, get it? The noise of this world, you'll miss what God is doing right in front of you. So the kingdom is not hidden, it's revealed to those who are willing to see it. It says here, so the question is, are you just hearing or are you truly listening? Are you looking or are you perceiving? The kingdom key for this morning is ask God to open your spiritual eyes, because when you see the kingdom from a different perspective, you won't just hear a sermon, i.e., or just read text on a piece of paper that happens to be red in color, but you'll hear the voice of the king himself. Selah. Okay, so that, my friends, is the good news of the day. Hopefully, it does what it was meant to do, which was to charge your spiritual batteries, get you fired up for the things of God, and hopefully just remind you that you have a calling, you have a purpose, and it is to bring honor and glory to the Father himself. Okay, let's get into it. So let's get into some resources real quick. I'm going to go through this real quick because I got a lot of things to get to. So on the screen here, as you can see, from my partners over at Colonial Metals Group, I want to make sure I continue to remind people of the options that they provide the community, just because with everything that's happening right now, we're seeing gold and we're seeing silver eventually going to do its thing. Majority of people have been conditioned to stick with the 60-40 investment model. And as I mentioned, for several years now, that's kind of outdated. And so you're going to need to rethink some things. And so this could be a good option for those to get involved in gold and silver within a self-directed IRA. So if you're interested in finding out more, information on the screen here. It'll take you to here. Fill out this form, download this PDF here, get some questions answered, and then speak with the professionals on how this could be a good option for you. And so once again, colonialsmetalsgroup.com/RTD, and then a number, you see it here, links in the description. So check that out if you guys are interested. And also, what things that has me has me extremely excited is the opportunity to continue to encourage people to get a hold of the most affordable gold that I believe is a good way of diversifying. Like, this is not the end be all. Believe me, for my people who are well versed, you've been stacking for a while, you know what you do best. But when I share this, it's more for those that are new, that don't know everything that you know, and so they're looking for options. And this could be one because it will preserve purchasing power, hands down. And so for those who are interested, go to buygoldnotes.com. You got an assortment of ways to redeem some of these paper instruments for 24 karat gold notes. So buy gold notes or just click the link in the description. You won't be disappointed for sure. And then last year, what I'm really, really excited about is the silver team. And so the silver team is something that really is going to be a great opportunity for those who recognize the importance of precious metals and want to get involved. And one thing that is just rolled out that I'm going to talk more about in the future happens to be what is considered a more reasonable and affordable option for people to get involved. And so I'm going to bring it on the screen here so you can see what I see in a moment, and just something to check out for those that might be interested in getting involved. So as you can see here, there's a new method for people to stack, and they come in very small forms in these trading cards or trading metal cards, as you see on the screen here. And so there's an assortment of options here, and I'll click on it so you can see. But ultimately, what they are on the screen, as you see here, just something to diversify your stack here. So you actually get 1/4 grain gold cards, as you can see over my shoulder here, which comes, you get 5 in this particular pack here. And then you also get 1 grain gold or 1 grain 3/9 fine silver. Come in these little cards here. I've ordered mine, so I'll have something to show you guys. But once again, gold and silver comes in these little packs here as a way of getting involved and stacking. And then you can also share your information if you become a member so that other people can get their weight up as well. So if you are interested in learning more, then just click the link in the description and go to mysilverteam.com, and you can get all the information you need there. And I'll actually put it on the screen here so you can see what I see here. So join the Silver Team, mysilverteam.com, links in the description, and just a way to diversify your stack. That's all. Okay, so let's get into it. Let me get myself together here if I can. Bear with me. I got too much stuff going on here. Okay, let me get rid of this on the screen here. So we're about to get into the nuts and bolts of today. Okay, so with that being said, I want to now get into some of the news stories, but I will be remiss if I did not just bring up on the screen here something that is, what you're going to hear more about. And it's no coincidence that Donald Trump is talking about the penny, because every other U.S. coinage is also in the same boat, meaning it costs more to produce them than they actually are worth in nominal value because of the monetary debasement of our currency, which makes all the metals that we actually need more expensive. So here on the screen, as of right now, let me refresh this screen. And so we have gold at 2,908 pieces of paper. Can you imagine that? 2,908 pieces of paper. So that's like this thing here, but like if I held up a big stack of just these things, that's how much it costs. While silver is only 32.2 pieces, not including the premium, which would be about $4 of this in silver and about 100 and some in gold in that. But once again, you see where we're heading. There is no ceiling to how high these prices can go, because there's no floor into how far the Federal Reserve note can fall. And what do I mean? Let me bring up another graph here for you guys. So this is where we're at as of now. So over the last week, let me get myself out of the way here so you can see what I see. So literally, this is what we're witnessing when gold and silver price goes up. The purchasing power of the Federal Reserve note goes down. So over the last 24 hours, the Federal Reserve note, when valued against gold, has gone down 1.64%. And it's nowhere near the floor. This thing is going to just continue to drop as a reflection of monetary debasement. And just for those who might be new, you zoom out to a year, holders of large amounts of Federal Reserve notes have lost 30% of their potential purchasing power. But once again, who am I? I'm just a YouTuber with an opinion. Never mind the graphs, never mind the charts, never mind the stats to prove the facts. Okay, but let's keep it moving. So just trying to give you something to chew on this morning. And so let's get into what you guys probably came here for, and that is the RTD news. So for those who might be new, I put together all the articles I'm going to talk about, relatively speaking. In the description, you can find rtd.news, or just type in http rtd.news in your URL. You'll get all this information directly to you so that you can stay on top of everything. So lots of interesting stories here. I'm going to just run through some headlines. I'm going to give you as much as I can, as fast as I can, because we could be here forever. And I know everybody got something to do today. So here we're going to go to the very first story of the day. Trump orders halt on wasteful pennies. How, think about this. Pennies, and I can go through a monetary history lesson, but it'll take too much time. But pennies used to hold lots of value well before we got into the central banking model. And so a lot of the noise we're going to talk about today happens to do with the rhetoric coming out in opposition of the IRS and the Federal Reserve. But once again, until you see something that proves this talk is not just talk, just don't get all excited. That's my whole point. I'm trying to get the MAGA crowd to not get overly excited until he delivers. These small steps sound good, but wait till he delivers. And delivering, to me, at the end of the day, comes in many forms and fashions. Because, just a side note, but I got to mention this. I'm still waiting on Hillary Clinton's investigation from 2017 presidential run. That's what I'm waiting on. So it's going to take a lot to convince me that this is all just not a show. So maybe you may have seen things that have pleased you, but when I know from the grander scheme of things, this is all political theater, I'm not convinced. So that's why I'm going to be very critical of anybody, Biden, Obama, you name it. I've been talking about them all because, once again, things aren't looking all that much prettier. And then also I got some other things I want to share with you as well. Okay, let me get in this. Okay. I get too excited just because it's just so much stuff to talk about. Okay, let's jump into this headline real quick so you guys can see what I see. I'm going to just read through it, share my 2 cents on it, and then get to some commentary, some thoughts and analysis out there on X, because X does a good job. People got a lot of opinions, both good and bad. But it says Trump orders halt of wasteful pennies. Okay, wasteful pennies. Okay, so this guy's at the football game last night. Horrible game. Horrible halftime show. I mean, horrendous. Waste of time. Man. I would have been mad if I spent money to go to that game. Anyway, President Donald Trump has directed the Treasury to stop minting new coins. Okay, so here we go. This is entertaining. Donald Trump acknowledges out of his mouth the Treasury to tell the mint to stop coining pennies. Okay, so we got something here. I like this talk because, once again, I haven't heard the word mint, United States Mint, which are the legally constitutional entity that's supposed to be issuing our monies. And so the fact he mentions the Treasury Department, which is supposed to be our financial overseers initially, in collaboration with the United States Mint, those are the only two entities that are authorized to actually do business on your behalf and my behalf. And so the fact that this is coming out, okay, it's entertaining. Let's see where it goes. But it says here, for far too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. Trump wrote in a post on Sunday night on Truth Social, his site, he is departing New Orleans after watching the first half of the Super Bowl. He says, I have instructed my Secretary of Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Okay, so his U.S. Treasury Secretary is Mr. Besant, if I'm not mistaken, Anthony Besant, if I'm not mistaken. And so, we all heard him during his election term about needing to enter the golden age. And, he even mentioned in one of his press conferences in the Oval Office next to Donald Trump about needing to monetize our assets by creating this sovereign wealth fund and all this stuff they're doing. Okay. So, let's see if we get into more of how they can help add more value back into our currencies. And so it says the directors, another early move in Donald Trump's administration. He had rapidly enacts policy changes through executive orders and proclamations. It says the production of the penny has long outpaced its face value. The United States Mint report losing 85.3 million in 2024 on the nearly 3.2 billion pennies produced. Each penny cost nearly 0.37 cents, so almost double the price to mint a penny than it is actually to be utilized. It says the nickel also more than its value. So the 5-cent nickel cost 14 cents, almost triple its melted down value in Federal Reserve note digital terms. And so once again, our coinage is starting to be exposed. Wait till we get to the dime, the nickel, the quarters, the half dollars. And of course, this show is called Rethinking the Dollar because the dollar, AKA what used to be a certain weightage of silver has long been eroded. And once again, let me, for the sake of demonstration's sake, because you never know who might be new. And also, actually, did I even? Well, okay, I think I was on screen when I was giving you guys just some reading some of those information from an article here. And so I have to always refer to the actual visual aids as a reminder, because I never know who might be first time viewers. And so let me just put this on the screen here so I can hint at what we probably all care about most, which is the actual units that we call dollars, which are actually Federal Reserve note, aka liabilities. We're about to get into that in a minute, and how Ron Paul and DOGE don't have jurisdiction to actually audit the Federal Reserve. So here we got what I'm waiting to hear about. When will Donald Trump address this particular medium here known as a dollar? And so since the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, we've witnessed every single administration who have come into office, whether one term or two terms, doesn't matter. They all participated in enacting policies and passing legislation that ultimately stole from you. And so we're at 98% now gone of our purchasing power. And like I say before, until I see something other words, this remaining 2% is on Donald Trump now to, resolve and to issue in that next brand of a currency. So I will admit publicly if I am wrong, with no doubt. But given where we have to go, I'm more than confident that in time it'll be obvious where this is heading. Because how do you revitalize something that's basically been flatlined already? Because our nation is insolvent. We're broke. We're bankrupt. Unless we go backwards and acknowledge gold and silver as mediums that must be implemented to stranglehold the central bankers, aka eliminate them, and then get back to sound monetary policies. So until that happens, I'm going to continue to be very outspoken and critical of everything I witness. Okay, but you're familiar with that. And as always, for those who are plugged in, feel free to, if I'm 100% wrong, if I'm nowhere in the ballpark, feel free to let me know in the chat. That's fine. I need to learn from somebody, and I love learning from my peoples. Okay. And so let's keep it moving. I gotta get more to get to because I got stuff I got more stuff to get to you. Got more stuff I want to get to you. Give me a second. Let me get back to my main page here. Where I go? Let me get back to my page. I done lost my page. Okay, so bear with me. I have too many tabs open, but I want to make sure. So for those who are, you can find this rtd.news down below. So let's go to penny talk. I want to talk about the penny from the perspective of what's trending right now. What are people saying out here? And I'm about to get that on the screen right here. Give me a second. Let me get it up here. Man, got too much stuff on me. So once again, this is the latest in the penny talk. Let's see what people are saying in reference to the penny. And so this is what's trending right now. Let me bring this on the screen here. So penny, this is the penny talk. This is what's trending. So these are other people's thoughts. A lot of these people, diverse crowd. We got Trump haters. We got Trump lovers. So this is where I get a chance to take all this in and try to formulate my own thoughts, because a lot of people come from a more of a biased viewpoint in favor of what they hope for rather than what's reality. And so let me get this here. So here we got President Trump just canceled production of the penny. He should do the same for the nickel. People have been calling for this for many years. In the CBS Sunday Morning Start 9 years ago, they pointed out the absurdity of paying more to make coins than it's worth. Then we have just this. Donald Trump, Super Bowl is so boring that Trump is just sitting in his suite at the game and decided, you know what? Let's ban the penny. Then we got more stuff. U.S. Mint, each penny costs 3.69 cents to make 19th straight. The 19th straight year its production costs more than its value. So once again, you gotta ask yourself, how come all of this was not of importance well before now? So these are things that can be extremely exciting for those that are looking for disruption and believe in the idea of, we have to undo all of the corruption so that we can begin making things right. So by this being exposed from Donald Trump, I can see how people are like, man, this is good news. Like they're gonna cancel the penny, they're gonna cancel the nickel. But I'm thinking like, damn, doesn't that kind of sound like, like the beginning steps of a coinless society? Like I've talked about cashless society. I've done lots of videos about the cashless society. And since I got you here and this comes to mind, let me share a video with you that uh, took me some time to actually produce, of which I unfortunately, depending on, let me see if I can find it. Let me see. I got so many of them. Here's one of my, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This is a good video, and this is why I want to, for those who might be new, let me see. Okay, so videos. Here's two videos rather that's in the archives. And the reason I mention this because a lot of the things that we're witnessing, I've been talking about for so long that after a while it kind of gets old. But here is here's two videos that come up when I just type in end of cash in my archives. But this top video here, end of cash, is here. It's 5-6 minutes. It's a very interesting video I put together. And then of course this is an interview I did with Doug Casey back in 2020 that also was well received. So if you guys want to hear more about my narratives and thoughts on end of cash, just check these two out here. But this video here, this is the last decade for cash, hands down. And what better way to get this started other than to remove the lowest denomination of what we consider coinage with the penny, then the nickel, and then quartered and everything else to where we'll eventually get to the dollar. And so this is, I believe, the beginning of the cashless, or the end of the coinage narratives. So just be aware of that. Like I haven't heard this from nowhere else, so you might be getting this firsthand. This is the end of the coinage society before we get to cash, because you can't just spring out a cashless society from nowhere. You got to start small. What better way to start than other with the penny? And let me make sure my audio is working. Yeah, let me make sure my audio is working because I don't see my bars moving on my mic here. Let me make sure. Let me know. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Because I can't see my bars moving, and I would hate to be talking to myself. Let me know. Let me see here. Give me a thumbs up real quick for my people who tuning in. Let me know if you can hear me. Sound it. I found it more cleaning house. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys can hear me. I see some type of bar activity, but hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know. But anyway, I'm gonna keep going. And so, okay, so with that being the case, because I don't know if I'm being heard or not, hope I am. And for those who are watching, if you have not, hit that thumbs up button. Show your support for the channel. Somebody says one, I believe is good. I assume, but anyway, I'm gonna keep ranting. Okay, so let me get to more articles, man. I got a lot, man. Okay, this is where I got to get better with time because I always have to be on point. So let me keep it moving. Let's get to some more stories here. I have lots of things to touch on because I think, as always, everything is I guess progressive as well as positive in the sense that you hear these headlines, you think like, man, like getting rid of the penny. Okay, that's good. We've been wasting money forever. Oh, okay, but what are we gonna do instead? Because I haven't heard any recommendations like outside of audit the IRS and what else? Audit the IRS and put Ron Paul on DOGE team so that we can get the Federal Reserve audited. Uh, just let's just pause right now because that sounds a little bit too good to be true, given the fact Donald Trump can't officially call for or DOGE can't call for an auditing of the Fed because the Fed is a private institution. It's independent, remember? So unless Donald Trump creates an executive order of some kind authorizing officially DOGE to go after a non-governmental department, then that's all talk. So, but then again, he has been pen happy. So all it takes is, just executive order to audit the Fed and we can get this party started. Okay. But it says Trump imposes 25% tariffs on the global steel and aluminum imports. That's something worthwhile. I'm going to skip that one. Trump action is making Israel great again. And so this stems from some back and forth I had on X last night with a social media influencer who's very pro MAGA. And he put out some things that I just politely, challenged. And I'm waiting on his last reply because he hasn't really proven or shown me anything that really got me believing. But I put out some things that he has to address, or you should address. And it has a lot to do with some key policies that have definitely flown by the radar unless you go looking for them, about how in his first 2 weeks he's done some very important things to make Israel great again. Because mind you, his mandate is to make Israel great again as well. And so because I enjoy this type of stuff, you might say, Mike, what do you mean? Okay, it's better to hear it directly from his mouth than just take my word for it. So let me just bring in something real quick. And so just listen to this and then I'll elaborate more on my point. Hold on, give me a second here. Bear with me. Let me bring this on the screen here. Okay.
Back our country.
All right. So this is Donald Trump.
And we're going to make Israel great again. We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to make them both great again, greater than ever before.
Okay. So for those who heard that, hopefully heard that, he's speaking in front of a predominantly Jewish. This is probably, I forgot when it was. I remember, but it's in front of the Jewish audience, predominantly his backers. He got more funding from the Jewish community than he did you and I. So he has to repay all this back. That's my point. But was it incidental or intentional how he put Israel before America? So listen to this. Let me replay this once again, just because let's just listen to the order in which he made this promise. Oops.
We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to make them both great again, greater than ever before.
Okay, so with that itself, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that alone. But you can ask yourself. He said, "Make Israel great again first, America second." But everybody voted on him making America first. He didn't tell us during his campaign trail that Israel was going to be made great as well. So I say all this because I had a little back and forth, and so I'm going to get into that in a minute. But I'm not like anti-Semite, or whatever these labels. I have to be very careful with it because I'm on YouTube and I know that this stuff is very sensitive. But I'm actually excited that he will accomplish his goals as far as making the nation state of Israel, or the region of Israel, great again, because that gets into the biblical stuff that, me as a believer, that excites me. And so you have to ask yourself a question, and this is just something to consider. If he's talking about making both great again, the nation of Israel, in reference to that territory, has a much longer history than America. 250 years-ish? And once again, I can't give you a bullet point dissertation on how America was ever great outside of being the leading nation because we had a reserve currency and all the democracy republic stuff that we're told we had. But I can give you a nice long history of how Israel, the regional state, was great according to the book, the good book, and what it means for it to be great again. And to me, making that region there great again, is important. And so I'll leave it at that. But just those are some things to consider, because Donald Trump will live up to his promises, because that's a part of why he's in office, regardless of what you believe or what you would hope for. This is where you get your feelings out of it. You get your expectations out of it, and just look at things from a macro, eternal viewpoint of what God needs to accomplish between now and the time the Christ returns. So these are just things that I just love talking about. Okay, so what am I talking about here? Real quick, I'm not about to go through his long list, okay, because let me just share with you. I'll share with you the individual who I was talking with, because it's somebody I follow who gives a very interesting perspective on things, slanted according to his particular viewpoint, But let me just bring it on the screen here. So I commented on something. So let me bring it on the screen here. So real quick, this is entertaining. It's all entertainment to me. So here we have my reply to a guy named Ariel. And so just for those who may not know Ariel, he has a large following. He has 446,000 followers. He says facts, conspiracy, my 2 cents, comedy, chess player. This is all his stuff. But, he gets a good little following. And he drops some stuff that, has me thinking. So I replied. And we had a little back and forth. And so I responded to him talking about he's positioning things as if like, he said we're winning, like referring to Trump and all that stuff like that. I'm thinking like, like what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? So I shared my 2 cents on some things. If you guys want to read about it, I'll put in a link or something like that. But anyway, so I gave him some things that challenged him, I believe. And so he put something out there and I had to speak on, the nation state of Israel. Like, he's talking about, we're going to take over Gaza. I'm like, we, what you mean we? Not we, him. Like, it's him. And I bet you, I'm like, he's made a promise to make Israel great again. So you got to ask yourself, is that coincidental that all of a sudden now we want to own Gaza? Like, we, what I'm saying? Come on now, this ain't we. These guys are all bought and paid for. Like, so you think he's the only one that's not bought and paid for? Anyway, so I just shared my 2 cents here. And he's like, didn't we just take over a territory? Didn't we just take over Israel that has been since the 1940s? If someone took a table, you had a reservation with your girl, and whatever. I'm like, whatever. So I'm like, what's your thoughts on this? He says, then I put a video of every single person in Congress with the Israel banner outside their office in support of Israel. I'm like, and this is revelation that came from the one congressman who talked about every single congressperson is on the cut. They all have handlers. And then somebody says here, to be fair, Trump wants to make the world great again. Somebody else chimed in. I'm like, I never heard about the world being great again. And then I'm like, okay, so I heard about make Israel great again. Like we heard that out of his mouth. And so I'm still waiting to hear some of my responses. But these are just things that like, I'm not trying to be that, that type of person, but we got to be honest here. Like, he said, make Israel great again first. And you got to take them up on that. But our mainstream media won't talk about that. So where you going to get your information from? That's why you come holler at your boy Mike, because I'm going to be on top of it. And what am I referring to here? So let's just look at how he's going to make America great again on top of everything else that's going to come in the future. So to give an idea, I put together some things that show what makes America great again. So here we got, I said, give me a list of pro-Israel actions under Donald Trump's second term. So here's six. Lift sanctions on settlers. This is stuff that's already taken place in the last 2 weeks. Trump lifted sanctions on Jewish settlers and pro-settlement organizations that were imposed by the Biden administration. So, and you don't just sanction people unless they are people of means and resources. So whoever these Jewish settlers were and the pro-settlement organizations, they're big wigs. They're big money players. Like, you don't go take over somebody's land and then start building and moving in unless you got bread. So these people were sanctioned under Biden for whatever reason. Sounds suspicious to me, but Trump undid that within his first 2 weeks. Next one, reinstating ICC sanctions. He reinstated sanctions on ICC court that were lifted by Biden for basically calling Netanyahu a war criminal. Okay, that's very pro-Israel. Arms transfer. Trump urged Congress to approve $1 billion arms transfer to Israel, including 4,700 1,000-pound bombs. Okay, that's minor. We can't give, like he's putting stipulations on sending more ammunition to Ukraine. He wants the rare earth minerals, but he's pushing Congress to send $1 billion worth of 1,000-pound bombs to help defend Israel, to make sure that they remain great. Executive order on anti-Semitism. If you speak out publicly and if you are pro-Hamas, if you're a college student, that's where it starts. Then you're going to be deported and lose your rights. So you have free speech as long as you don't talk about a certain select class of individuals. That's basically what that's about. And then he met with Netanyahu. His very first visitor to the White House was Netanyahu. Like, that's very nice of him to consider inviting Minister. And I put out there on a community page where his letterhead started by saying His Excellency, like he's the Prime Minister, like he's a man just like you, boss. You call him His Excellency. Is that like formal? Is that presidential talk or something? So anyway, these are just some things here. There's gonna be more, believe me, because he made a promise to make Israel great again first, and that's fine. I mean, I'm all for that. That's great, but just don't continue to lie to the people who voted you in to make them really think that you're working in our best interest. Okay, but that's just that. That's just me. I could be wrong, but if you want to get this whole list, it's at the RTD News site. And so once again, I like to be critical because I have to be a realist. I can't live according to what I hope things turn out to be like. I have to base them upon what I'm witnessing and what is being reported or not being reported. Okay, so what is your point, Mike? Just be open to the fact that you could be lied to. Okay, so here's the thumb. Trump's Gaza ownership plan faces international rebuke. So a lot of people aren't happy with the fact that he's wanting to own Gaza, the Palestinian region, and not allow the Palestinian people to have access to their land currently. And then he wants to come in and build resorts and all that types of other stuff. And then the part of my argument or discord with that individual was he's saying that that's a victory for America, that the U.S. will own Gaza. And I'm like, if you really think we're going to own the Gaza Strip and Israel not benefit from it, then hey, more power to you, buddy. Yeah, okay, but so there's a lot of pushback internationally. The international community is not excited about that. But then again, it doesn't matter what the international community thinks because we got the reserve currency. So no matter what, as a part of this remaining 2% of our purchasing power in a dollar, Trump is going to do whatever he needs to do to make Israel great again and America, supposedly. So somehow, some way, this probably will play out. The Palestinians will be relocated. That land will be taken over. Trump will get a Trump Tower in the Gaza Strip. And that, His Excellency Netanyahu will be very pleased with his guys' efforts. Okay. Let's get into the next story. Elon is coming for the Fed. Ron Paul is on the DOGE team. So this is something that on the surface sounds exciting. But once again, until you see more proof of the reality of these type of events here, take it with a grain of salt, people. And so here's just some things trending in reference to that subject matter I mentioned. Elon Musk wants Ron Paul audit. Ron Paul is my hero, according to this guy here. And mind you, I've been following Ron Paul. I had to try to get him on the show. He's been a voice for the people in reference to calling out the criminality and the fraudulent behaviors of a centrally controlled bank. But once again, he went through his entire political career with talk. He never able to get support from his constituents or his colleagues to actually get anything done. So once again, he means well, he meant well, but then again, the system itself is so much bigger than one person, for the good and for the bad. And, I wish them well, hope it works out. So here's another comment here from Jennifer Gibbs. I don't know who she is, but I thought it was interesting, or we'll find out. But Mark, with all due respect, I think that it's because Elon is on a mission to get a job done, not have it instructed. The only dim I would trust is whatever. Okay, that's not what I wanted to actually read. But anyway, so these are just some thoughts here. A lot of people appear to agree that this could be a good move for the DOGE team. But my whole point is that the DOGE department is more so like a government think tank, because it's not authorized really to do extensive research other than what they've already revealed. USAID is enough. But then once again, I made a comment about that as well. Like the USAID, AID, it just exposes the criminality. So let me show you what I'm referring to. It just exposes the criminality. But then again, there's been nothing new revealed. And what do I mean by that? Like I haven't. Let me share with you what I meant here. So I wrote a tweet or an X, whatever you call them. And so this is what I said in reference to just giving people something to think about. Consider this. Reminder, just because you see the revelation of criminal activity within the United States government, the USAID, doesn't mean we're on the road towards, quote, great again. it just exposes what many have known for years. Wait until you see actual prosecutions from names that we don't already know before you get your hopes up. And so while hearing about where the funds were going, who got paid, who did get paid, that's great. But once again, I haven't seen much yet to really lead me to believe that any of this is going to result in justice being served from the standpoint of there being prosecutions and people held accountable. So it's one thing to highlight the criminality, to talk about, how corrupt things are, but until we have criminal prosecutions where we see some names flashed on Fox, NBC, CNBC, CNN with evidence showing that they were complicit and benefiting from all of this, then it's all chatter, people. So just keep that in mind. I hope I'm wrong, but people should have learned their lesson from his first administration with the QAnon and the trust the plan and all those individuals talking about, there's, what's it called? There's tribunals coming, there's affidavits that's been signed, and there's all these type of sealed documents is waiting to be released. It's going to expose all the corruption and criminality in our government. And, there's going to be, Guantanamo Bay is going to be full of the politicians that committed treason. And here we are, almost 8 years later, five years later. I ain't seen no arrests. I ain't seen no people being hauled off in handcuffs. We still ain't got that Hillary Clinton investigation yet. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, I could be wrong. Okay. Just having fun, people. That's all. Don't take it personal. Just having fun. Somebody got to laugh. If not, you're going to go crazy. Okay, so let me get to another story or two. And then I want to let you guys go do the rest of your own investigative work. And you can use the articles at the RTD.news. Okay. So what else we got here? Just some more headline. Let me see. So we got we got Paul, the People's Choice. Why DOGE says Senator Mike Lee floats Representative Ron Paul for Federal Reserve chairman. So now we got somebody wanting Ron Paul to be chairman. You can hold your breath for that. It'll never happen. Never. And if it does happen, he's going to have restrictions on what he can and can't do. Once again, sounds good. It's enough to get the headlines of an alternative media site. Don't get your hopes up, people. As much as we love to see justice and truth be revealed, the system is too big for any individual to really bring us to his knees at this point. What else we got here? That's pretty much it. So anyway, you guys get the gist of my whole debate today. The Federal Reserve is a privately owned bank by a lot of influential people that's a part of a select group, a select class of people. I can't say anything in depth, but those individuals who are the most influential and the most powerful, they are the gatekeepers to politics, finance, and entertainment. And I don't think they're going to willingly allow their multi-generational business model, central banks, the fractional reserve lending, all those practices that they've created to just come to an end without them having plans for something new that they're going to be the beneficiaries of. So I say all that just to pray for the best, hope that this is legitimate discussions we're having in reference to all this change that's being talked about of making it great again, whatever that means. But be realistic, people. It's on you. Don't trust the politician. Don't trust the president. Don't trust nobody other than your Lord and Savior to actually be operating in your best interest, because all these things we're experiencing, whether good or bad, they work together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. So you want to get in alignment with your purpose through what he desires for you. Him, meaning Elohim, Yahweh, whatever. You choose to call the Father or Fathers, the King of Kings, and you get my drift here. But once again, these are just some things that people should keep in mind while also trying to be of value and of service to other people, because ultimately what it boils down to is, you being of value to others, placing others and loving others above yourself. So that's my little rant for today, people. Yeah, hope it was some value there. But once again, just having fun and trying to, encourage as well as to add some insight to what's really happening. But anyway, good people, as always, for those who may come in late, leave comments, thoughts, ideas. I won't be able to get to it all, but you guys get where I'm going with this. Be blessed, be safe, and all the resources, everything you need, check the description.